Timberwolves Spurs start tonight. And check out this post from Minnesota's social media
A little
team.
X-Files sound.
There's a little alien action there with the Wolves. All right, before that tips off, a quick look back at their recent history. Despite being big underdogs, the Wolves won the season series 2-1, and their latest meeting on January 17th was memorable. Ant dropped a career-high 55 points, while Wemby had 39 and the win. Spurs are coming off 5 days of rest after defeating the Blazers in round one. Victor averaged 22 points, 13 boards, and 6.5 blocks in the last 2 games of that particular series, but he also missed Game 3 with a concussion. The Timberwolves defeated the Nuggets on Friday despite their guards being devastated by injuries. Dante DiVincenzo is out for the rest of the season, and Ayo Dosunmu were unable to finish that series. Here's what Wemby had to say about Ant's potential return.
As a competitor, do you want to see Edwards get out there?
Yeah, of course. You know, they got more than Edwards and DiVincenzo, but, you know, those two are players that I like watching, you know. I like playing against. They go hard.
Now welcoming in our 2 reporters covering this series, Anthony Slater and Michael C. Wright. Anthony, on the Wolves side of things, all eyes are on Anthony Edwards. We know he wants to play, but what more can you tell us about his potential return?
Yeah, sounds like he's going to play, you know, barring a pregame setback. And, you know, I heard Danny earlier in the show call him Wolverine. That's the exact term that Julius Randle used at shoot-around today, you know, just talking about the expedited nature of all of his recovery processes. You know, Julius Randle talks about, you know, times he's had falls, you know, at points in his career where he goes to the back. You think he might have a serious injury. He's playing in the second half. But I will say, just because he is playing doesn't mean we're not going to be keeping a microscope on that knee. When we walked out to shoot around today, he's putting a pretty bulky left leg sleeve over that knee. He was going through, I would say, you know, 50 to 80% type jump shots. He was doing like one dribble step backs to kind of test the knee, but he has not had a scrimmage. He has not had a full contact practice. This is an urgency to try to get him back for this series, considering who they're facing. But, you know, again, we need to see how the knee responds. And one other quick note, Ayo Dosunmu has now been ruled out with the calf issue.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's big news. Appreciate that. Now, let's flip over to the Spurs side here. Michael, none of their starters have played a single game in the second round, but that doesn't affect Victor Wembanyama's confidence at all. What's his mindset as we head into Game 1?
Well, no matter the circumstances thrown at Victor Wembanyama, he wants to maintain that the standard that the San Antonio Spurs have set throughout the regular season and the playoffs, but he is excited about the potential for mental warfare in this series. He said in that first round against Portland, he said the Trailblazers were a very straightforward team. He said that they just sort of tried to overwhelm you with their physicality. He said Minnesota presents a different challenge tactically in what he called the technical basketball aspect. Obviously, there's the challenge of facing Rudy Gobert, and he's excited about that. There's video floating around on the internet of a 16-year-old Victor Wembanyama going against Rudy Gobert. Well, Victor said what you didn't see in the video was that Rudy took him to the weight room after it was over and just showed him how he worked and talked to him about how to take care of his body over the course of an NBA season. And Victor said that that was very inspiring to him. He said it was a big part of his basketball journey. So given, you know, the matchups they've had throughout Victor Wembanyama's career, they played 8 times. Rudy has won 6 of those games. So Victor's going to want to get some get back here, too.
All right, good stuff, Michael. Thank you guys so much, Anthony and Michael. Appreciate the time. Speaking of Victor, this was an amazing stat from his last series. Wemby held the Blazers to 8 for 42 shooting as the contesting defender in the first round per ESPN tracking. Danny, that's 19%.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Well, it's good for him.
Right. Bad for everybody else.
Teams.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian, just what are your thoughts on just everyone talks about what he can do offensively at that size, but just defensively?
Yeah, so the real challenge, though, was kind of low-key shade that he threw at the Blazers. He's like, they played straightforward. Yeah. Anyway, he's saying that the Minnesota plays more tactical. So the challenge for Chris Finch and the Wolves is going to be to move Victor to where they want him to move so that they can open up other things. It's kind of like almost like football, where like remember when Deion Sanders was in his prime, like he took away that side of the field, and so he had to do some things. Victor takes away portions of the court. So what I think Victor is talking about here is he's waiting to see the tactics that Minnesota employs tonight to try to move him, and then he can read that. And he's looking forward to that challenge. I'm going to be honest with you, that is not something you normally hear from a player playing in his second ever playoff series, but I am not surprised because this is the standard that Victor has made clear he wants to set.
Janae, we saw that video of him and Rudy when they were young, or when he was certainly very young. Now, Rudy's coming off maybe his best series ever, the way he defended the Joker. What do you make of this matchup?
Well, Victor actually just said it when we heard the report about the mental warfare. That really applies mentally when you're going up against your teammate through France. I know this when I played against my sister. It was a lot of mental warfare. When someone you love and care about is on the other end, it's a mental game. And this is going to be a matchup, if you look at this tape, of force versus finesse. Because Wemby's going to try to use force. That's actually to Rudy's advantage. He's going to try to drive him through the baseline. Instead, Rudy can take those shots. He's called the Stifle Tower for a reason because he's like concrete. He's like metal. Instead, Wemby will have to use his skill set, which is finesse. Again, he's going to try to blow through him, but then he starts getting into his dribble package. Amazing defense, shuffling the feet, but he gets him with an okie doke and up and under. This is the finesse. And look at the stride to get to the rim. How many players? Okay, one step and literally finger roll it right at the basket. And so he has to play through his strengths against a guy that he cares about. But that's why he says it's mental warfare, because he knows Rudy, his game better than anybody else.
Yeah, there's not many people out there that know Victor like Rudy does. And it's not as simple as guarding Jokic on the block. Jokic is more in the post. He does stretch the floor some, but Wemby's going to be out there. So it's going to be a challenge for Rudy. But I think he's taken on this challenge, being the fact that he was left out of Defensive Player of the Year finalist award. So ever since then, he's taken upon himself to be a defensive impact or presence or dominance on that end of the floor when playing Denver. And now against San Antonio, I think he'll do the same. Yeah,
I'm fired up already for this series. It hasn't even started yet. We're still hours away. But anyway, from the NBA to the W.
Take a seat, boys.
As last night was the final tune-up for the preseason, let's take a look at some WNBA today. All right, Sabrina Ionescu in the Liberty taking on the Sun, and Sabrina went down hard on her left foot. Ooh, you'll see that right here.
Oh, that was tough.
Yep.
A good move.
An MRI confirmed she avoided significant injury and will miss at least 2 weeks.
A bummer. She's going to, her first games in Portland are supposed to be next week.
Oh, it's a real bummer. It's a bummer. They'll need her this season, but I'm glad they're slow rolling it, so she'll be available later on.
On to the Sparks.
Oh, hey, I know her.
Yeah, taking on the Fire, and Nneka Ogwumike was cooking.
That's her first bucket back in a Sparks uniform. This was the first ever home game for the Portland Fire. And one, son.
Okay, sis.
And one, hun.
Okay, sis.
This was cooking. And you know what's crazy? She had 17 points, and I was like, Nneka, good job. She's like, I can be better. What's wrong with you?
17 in 20 minutes.
I can be better.
Yeah, Aces wings.
Oh, come on now.
Asia Wilson had 18 points for the Aces.
Watching the GOAT in real time. Appreciate.
Yeah, Paige Beckers had 11 points and 9 assists.
Danny.
Gonna go for 83.
Hey, Paige.
AZ Flood also scored 12 in the Dallas win. And here's AZ post-game on what she learned about her time in the WNBA.
Honestly, I feel more confused. Like, I thought you could be physical in the W, and anytime you touch someone, it's a foul. So I'm not really sure whether to be physical, whether to, I don't know. So I'm still figuring that out. Yeah, you're still figuring it out too. Because, make it hit with I say.
So, Janae, what is Beth's reaction or her comments and realizing then she might get fined?
I liked them both. Back in my day when I got fined, I was like, I can take it. It's only $250. But the way the money is set up now in the WNBA, that fine might be a little bit more expensive. But yeah, we didn't understand physicality. There's a learning curve for everybody, even #1 picks.
There you go. The WNBA starts this weekend. We have 2 huge games on Saturday afternoon. Caitlin Clark and the Fever host AZ and the Wings. Then a finals rematch when Asia and the Aces host the Mercury, all on ABC and the ESPN app. Coming up, Shams has all the details on Dallas hiring Masai Ujiri and what it means for the future of the Mavs.
Love this.
And green in that shot.
Yeah, we have all the intel and the fallout in Houston. The KD